Hello, my friends. Welcome. My name is Joe. This is the Joe Martino Show. And today we're going to talk about three things that our kids need. The truth is, there are three things that all of us need, but three things specifically that I believe are the blueprint to excellent parenting. And if we add a fourth thing in there, which I feel is kind of just a given, but I have found that it isn't, I think we are just going to kill it and you are going to rock it. All right, let's kick it off. This is the Joe Martino Show.
You're listening to The Joe Martino Show, a podcast dealing with all things emotional, relational, and human nature. Joe is a licensed counselor in the state of Michigan, specializing in relationship therapy. He is also the author of the book, The Emotionally Secure Couple. All advice offered in this episode is offered for entertainment and educational purposes only. Enjoy the show.
Hey, friends. Hello. How's your day going? I hope that it's going well. I want to talk to you today about three ways that we can interact with people. Three things that our kids need from us. If you have children, your kids need this from you. And like almost all things parenting, not only do your kids need this, but we need this as adults. We need these three things. We're going to talk about a fourth one that I feel is a given for kids. And then we're going to talk about, well, what does that look like if we're doing that for other people? If we're trying to pour this into other people, what exactly does that look like? And how do we do that? One of the areas where I think we go a little rogue with all of this parenting is that we tend to think that there are ways that we can interact with our kids that are not okay. We would never say, hey, let's interact this way with other people. In fact, we often say the exact opposite and don't interact with other people that way. And that doesn't make sense to me. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today as well. These are three things that I think all kids need, all humans need. And if you've been around here for any amount of time, the first one you're going to recognize right away, and then we'll move from there. Before I go into that, though, I do want to let you know that my book is available on Audible. It is AI generated, so if you haven't picked it up yet, I know a lot of you are reaching out like, hey, can I read the book via Audible? Because I don't like to read, but I do like to listen. It's there. Also, to let you know more, you can sign up if you haven't already on my website at joemartino.com. Click on the emotionally inclined tab, and you will find my blog for all things that make us human. If you're interested in spiritual matters, I also have a blog called Hiding Behind God. The URL there is Does God Care About Our Theology.substack. If you're not interested in that, don't sign up. It's all good. All right, let's talk about three things that our kids need from us and that we need as adults, especially if we didn't get in our childhood. The first one, you've probably guessed this already. Our kids need identity. They need to know who they are. They need to be taught who they are. They need to be taught what does it mean to be who we are. They need to receive identity from their parents. They need words of affirmation and growth spoken over them in an honest way. And I think this is where we get in trouble, because there was this movement where we would just say things about kids that were not true, or we wouldn't let them suffer at all. And I use that word very loosely. But right, there's parents that won't let their kids be the bad guy if they play good guys and bad guys. And then they're like, well, maybe we shouldn't have guys at all. Maybe that's too patriarchal and all that stuff. And what happens is we rob kids of, we are robbing kids of what it means to have identity. And coincidentally, our society is becoming increasingly angry about stating what our identity is, what you should call me. We are really coming to a place where we're drawing battle lines in society over things like identity, while simultaneously not teaching identity to our children. And we get lost there, and that's a problem. And I think part of this is because we think identity is just who are you, right? I saw a video clip of an NFL running back who fumbled in a very big situation in a very important game. And he said to his coach, I'm so sorry, that isn't who I am, which is, he's identifying. He's speaking identity into his life. I'm not a guy who fumbles. Great, except you just did fumble, right? Would have to run that out. And sometimes we do that. But identity is also about your values. It's about, hey, in this family, we're kind. In this family, we're generous. In this family, we work hard. We believe in working hard. In this family, we believe in resting. We believe in taking rest and breaks from work. You go into not just who are you, but what do you value? What does it mean to be a part of your family? What does it mean to have your last name? What does it mean to share your genetic makeup? These are important things. And I understand one of the bands sang One Tribe, Y'all, and all that. And there's truth to that, but there's also truth that there are things that come with having our last name. There are values that we have as a family. And when you become an adult, if you want to get rid of them, so be it. But here we share these values. So identity involves who you are. It also involves what do you value? What do we do? What are the behaviors we engage in? What are our issues that we believe in? And this is where I think a lot of what's getting messed up today is we've divided ourselves into us versus them. And if you're in the them group, you're threatening my people. And when you're threatening my people, I have to take violence against you, to the point where, and I think I mentioned this in an earlier blog, we're to the point where violence over politics is just kind of the accepted way. It's actually lauded and applauded in the public. In public view, we're applauding and celebrating violence for political reasons, as long as it's the people that we agree with. And I actually think the problem with that is because we've lost some of our identity. We have lost what does it mean to be human. We divide ourselves up now, right? There's the orange Hitler, or I don't know what do the conservatives call, well, actually they say terrible things that I'm not going to repeat, about other people. And somebody's going to write in and be like, well, why did you say orange Hitler then? Because it came to my head and I don't want to go back and edit it out. That's the truth. But we've lost sight of the truth that we're humans. You're not a Republican or a Democrat or pro-Trump or anti-Trump first. You're human. And when you can take other people and turn them into the them, we've dehumanized them a little bit. And this happens when we don't have a strong identity. Because here's the benefit of this. When you have a strong identity, people attacking you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't sway you. It doesn't move you. Your identity becomes a rock that can anchor you in the storm. You can lash yourself to it and endure the storm. So you should be talking to your children in terms of who they are. What does it mean to be your son? What does it mean to be your daughter? Because that provides them an anchor. Now, what does this look like with adults? That's where it gets super interesting. Because we need to speak identity to our adult friends too. Maybe you grew up and no one spoke identity into you, or the identity they spoke into you was not good. And I hear this all the time. I see it all the time. People speak identity into their children by calling them names, by saying they're stupid. What's wrong with you after all the things I do with you? I was just caught up. I was at a coffee shop and I was trying to get work done, but the tea at the table next to me was so good. I had to take my headphones out and I couldn't keep doing work because I wanted to listen to their conversation. I did not get as much work done as I would have liked, but I did get to listen. And actually I ended up joining them. I did get to have a really interesting conversation, but so much of their conversation was around the reality that the identity spoken into their lives was detrimental. And now they're adults. And what I thought was interesting is one person at the table was speaking new identity into his friend. His friend would say things like, oh, my mom said this about me. And he would say, oh, really? That must have been very hurtful. But I want you to know, I don't see that in you. What I see is this. And he was speaking identity into the other person's life. Because we all need to know who we are. We all need to know what we're doing. We all need to know, how do people see us? And is it what I feel? We all need people to speak true identity into our lives. Hey, when I see you, I see this. I've got this thing rattling around in my brain for men. I want to start some sort of you're a good man movement, right? Because I cannot tell you how many guys I meet, that's what they wrestle with. Am I a good man? And the most encouraging person they can hear that from is whoever they spend life with, right, in the home. But then the guys that know them the best, hey, you're a good man. You're a good man. You're a good man. And I'm sure women need that too, right? Like there are women that wrestle with, am I wanted? Are people going to want me to be in their circle? That's how we get the cool kids, because they exclude, because no one taught them, who are you? Do you want to be someone that excludes? And who are you when you're excluding? And so that becomes the question. Who am I when I'm doing these behaviors that are not good? Who are you when you're doing these behaviors that are good? That's identity. Not just who are you, but what are the values that you have going? Okay, so our kids need identity. Beyond that, our kids need love or affection. They need us to love them. And this is the one that I always get the least amount of pushback on. Well, of course my kids need me to love them. Of course I love them. Except that there are parents that don't. Like that table yesterday, the one person had been told by a parent that I just got the wrong kid. That's not love. Your kids need to know that you love them. And here's the thing, whether you like this or not is irrelevant. The fact that you put a roof over their head, they don't translate that as love. They translate that as the bare minimum. They don't translate that as love. They don't translate the fact that you put food on the table as love. And I know that there may well be someone out there who's like, yeah, but when I put food on their table, it's not on mine because I eat less so they can eat more. And I understand that. And in those cases, maybe those kids recognize it. But for the vast majority of you, you're eating just fine. And so your kids discount that. Your kids don't think about the car that you drive for the vast majority of you. And they need love from you. They need to hear, I love you. They need loving actions, which is more than taking them to the sports game or to science fairs or to the, like whatever it is that they're doing. It's more than taking them to the thing that they're doing. Because let's be honest, sports are a lot about the parents too, right? Those things are a lot about the parents because you take pride in it. And that's okay. That's good. Like you should take pride in it. Maybe not quite as much as we do in sports. I was at a sports event recently and reminded about how much parents make the game about them and how unfortunate that is. But what does it mean to love our children? What does it mean to help our children move forward in life, understanding that they are loved, right? So the joke that I always say is I tell my kids 3 things every day. You are enough, you are loved, and taxation is theft. Because I hate taxes. I think big government sucks. I'm fighting my ADHD to not go off track here, right? So, but telling your kids every day they are loved, that's a good thing. There are people like, well, I don't want to tell them too much. Yes, actually you do. You want to tell them too much that they are loved, and they need to know that that love is unconditional, that there is literally no condition that can change their love for them. So I used to tell my kids, there's nothing you can do that will make me love you more today than I loved you yesterday, because my love for you is my choice. I love you because you're my daughter. I love you because you're my son, period. There's a lady in my Facebook circle. She lives in my town. She's retired. And in fact, I think she listens to this. She put up one that grandparents love their grandchildren, not because they accomplish something, but because they're their grandchildren. I think that's awesome. I think that should be true for our children, right? We love them because of who they are. We tend to think of this as like, well, but they have to accomplish things. Okay, sure, yes, they have to pay their bills. They have to grow up to be functional adults, all of those things. But you can push them to do those things and still love them unconditionally. Your kids need to hear regularly from you that you love them, how much you love them, and that they're never going to mess that up, because that is something humans wrestle with. Now, what does this look like with adults? You have friends that need to know you love them, that you affectionately care for them, that you want them to be a part of your life, that you choose for them to be a part of your life. They get to opt out, but that you choose for it. Because there are plenty of adults who did not receive unconditional love as children. There are plenty of adults who did not engage, who were not engaged by their parents in a loving way, who were not told by their parents how much they were loved. And if they were told how much they were loved, it was usually with conditions, or their actions didn't back that up. I see this all the time, and it drives me crazy. I was just lamenting this in my men's group. There are dads that come in and they are jerks to their kids, and they're like, well, but I tell them that I love them. Or there are guys that are jerks to their wives, and they're like, well, I love my wife. Or wives that are jerks to their husbands. Oh, I tell them that I love them. Or moms that are just mean and vindictive to their kids. Well, but I tell them that I love them. Yeah, but your behaviors don't back that up. And your behaviors speak louder than your words. And so if your words do not back up your idea that you love them, or your communication that you love them, that won't work. They need to know that you love them from your words and your actions. From your actions and your words. Okay, so our kids need affirmation, identity. They need love, affection, and they need affirmation. This kind of coalesced for me about a month and a half ago. There was a guy, he was speaking, and he was like, hey, these are things that we all need. And I was like, man, yes, but that is the blueprint for parenting. And affection is not just, hey, I love you. It's, I like you. I like you for these reasons. I like what you do. I like your smile. I like your eyes. I like your hair. I like you. Your kids need affection from you. And so often I see parents caught up in fighting this power battle. I'm the parent and you will respect me. Do not disrespect me by questioning me. That their kids don't think they like them. Or they say things, why do you do what you do? And divorced parents, I'm going to probably get emails for this, and it's okay. Maybe I'll read them in the future. Divorced parents, you can be the worst offenders of this because your kid's going to remind you of your ex, and you and your ex may have real problems. And you might be, oh, you're just like your father. Your kid does not need to hear that. That is not loving. And it is not affection. It is not affirmation. It is not, hey, I like you. It's not their fault they're like someone that you chose to breed with. If you want to raise whole adults, if you want to raise healthy adults, they need to know that you like them. They need to know that you delight in them, that you take joy in them. They need to know that you appreciate their quirks. If you have a teenage son and his farts smell like they could destroy the world, he needs you to laugh with him. And of course, you can teach him decorum. Those are not mutually exclusive. He needs to hear words about being liked, because what is it that you wrestle with? Most of you, do people like me? You know what? That makes you human, and that makes your kids similar. Do kids like me? Do other people like me? And, when you say, well, sports this or academics that, what we're finding is kids that are achievers, they worry just as much. It makes sense, of course. They worry just as much, because then they worry, well, maybe kids just like me because I'm good at sports, or I'm good at grades, or I'm good in the band. Your kid needs to know that you like him or her, period. That you find joy in them. I don't understand this one, because I actually had somebody tell me, I got lucky. I have 4 amazing kids, and I have enjoyed the vast majority of my time with them, but not all of it. And yet I can still convey to them that I like them. Our kids need to know who they are, identity. They need to know that they are loved, affection, and they need to know that they're liked, affirmation. They need those 3, but so do we as adults. We need to run in circles where we have energy poured into us that says, hey, I see this in you. I see you. I know who you are. And when you doubt it, you can hear and trust my observations. We need people to say, I love you. I am glad that you're in my life. I am glad that our paths have crossed. Imagine if I could talk. Hey, Belle, that one's for you, because I know you laugh at that line. But seriously, tripping over that. I should go back and delete it out, but I'm not going to. It's the whole video thing. It makes editing twice as difficult. Anyhow, we need to know that we are liked, that it is fun to hang out with you, that I enjoy hanging out with you, that I enjoy this about you. And people need to know what those are, not just, hey, I like hanging out with you, but I don't ever do it. They need to know what you will enjoy hanging out with them, and then you need to do it. Just like with your kids, you need to convey that and you need to live it. It needs to be both words and actions. And then the 4th component that I feel is a given, but often isn't, is guidance. I think if you do those first 3 things, your ability to influence and guide your children is far greater than if you pull your power card, your authority card, the Bible sense card. I don't mean to say it like that, but it just infuriates me when I talk to dads and moms, but especially dads, who are jerks, and they quote a Bible verse without looking at the verses around it. When you do those first 3 things, this is who we are. This is who you are. I love you and I like you. You guide your children. I was talking to my wife about this. She's like, I don't ever say the word discipline anymore, because I'm sure, actually, this is probably me misquoting her. But she conveyed to me the idea that she doesn't say the word discipline much in the therapy room anymore, because she has found that parents take that as some sort of like okay to just be awful to their children. They might beat their kids, which we have to call into CPS, right? But even if they don't, they're heavy-handed. They're mean. Like I know of a client that literally contemplated suicide because of how she was being treated in her home by her dad, and none of it was reportable, right? I want to be clear on that. It wasn't he was sexually assaulting her. It wasn't he was even physically assaulting her. But his words were so awful, so mean, so terrible. And he refused to own that because he was he was directing her. He was disciplining her. He wasn't guiding her. Actually, he was. He was guiding her away from what he actually wanted. And that's what often happens when we ignore the first three that I talked about. This is who we are. I love you and I like you. And we go straight to, you will obey me because I am put in a position of authority over you. Because you were randomly placed into my house. Because blah, 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 blah. Like it's just silliness that drives me crazy. I want to guide my children. I want to raise my children in the way that they should go. But I cannot do that apart from the first three things. I cannot do that apart from telling them, hey, let's talk about identity. Hey, I love you. Hey, I like you. And I take joy and delight in you. I can't do it apart from those things. And then we move forward into guidance. Then we move forward into guidance, and they run together. They run symbiotically together, each feeding off of the other. And this is true of adults. Look, friendship isn't just about hanging out. It isn't just about for the boys or for the bros or for the girls. It isn't just girls' trip to wine country. It isn't just dude trips to sports games or bourbon country. Real friendship is about guidance, about two people coming together so that they can both be better people for knowing each other. It's about, hey, you guide me and I'll guide you. You walk with me and I'll walk with you. But that is almost always best received after we talk about identity, we talk about love, and we talk about affection. Almost always. And maybe you're an adult who didn't grow up with any of those three. And the truth is, most of those adults have a hard time taking guidance from anyone because they struggle to trust anyone, because they're not sure about their identity. They're not sure that they're loved. They're not sure about their affection. Are they actually liked? Or affirmation, excuse me. And so they try to get those things with intensity. They double and triple down. And so they need people to come around them and be like, hey, I see this in you. I see you. I see you. And I love you. And I like you. And as we navigate life together, let's share guidance. This is one of the reasons I weep for our current society, because we don't invite people into our lives to guide us. We invite people into our lives who already agree with us. We invite people into our lives who are or just literally say all the same things that we say. And if they don't, we cut them out. We get rid of them. We scream for inclusiveness, but then when somebody disagrees with us, we cut them out. I have a friend that's an atheist, hardcore atheist. Went on a 10-day trip with someone who's really into church. And I was like, how are you going to do that? And to her credit, she said to me, I'm just really open-minded. I don't care. As long as they don't ask me to participate in their churchy things, I don't care if they do church every day while we're on this trip. That's two people coming together for the betterment of each other and guidance. There's no cutting out there. There's no get rid of this. Don't do that or we can't be friends. It's terrifying to me how much we have engaged in us versus them in our society because of moral something. I don't even know. We dress it up like moral uprightness, but it's silliness. And we're doing it to our kids. I cannot tell you how many adults I meet who, when we get to talk about it, they're like, my parents just didn't like me. I've had kid clients. My parents just don't like me. I actually thought about starting with that in this, because if you don't like your kids, how do you teach them identity and love? If you have friends who tell you they don't like, I don't even know how that would work for adults. But the truth is we do it, right? We have people that we hang out with who are not sure that they like us. and we don't really demand much from them for that. You need to find people that like you and surround yourself with them. But you don't want people that like you so much that they won't tell you things that could be hurting you, because that's real love. Real love engages in things, in conversations that maybe are uncomfortable. Real love engages in conversations that we might not like, that we might find uncomfortable. We do that with our kids, and we do that with each other, with our friends. Hey, if you're going to do this, tell me how that helps you be who you say you want to be. I have a friend that tells inappropriate jokes, like way inappropriate. And whenever he tells them in a group, people kind of cringe. I have said to him numerous times, bro, I don't understand how you engaging in that kind of talk helps you be the adult, be the person that you have told me that you want to be. Why do you do that? And I'm asking him to tell me. I'm pointing out his identity. And I don't ever tell him that I don't like him. I hang out with him. I spend time with him. I invite him to things. And we move through that distress. That's how relationships are changed. And that's how the world has changed. I'm convinced of that. And this is how the world gets better and heals and moves forward. I'm convinced of that, because what happens is as we start to talk about identity and love and affection, we realize that we can disagree on things. We realize that we can grow. When we only have people in our world that are an echo chamber for us, because they're my people, we lose out. And I want to say this as clearly as I can. You don't have to agree with your kids on everything. And there are people that we're not going to like. There are people that they are actually mean and toxic, and they refuse to listen. And in that case, we have to say, look, here's why. But we need to have specific behaviors, not just you voted for somebody I don't like. Not just you do certain things that don't even involve me that I don't like. Or you don't shout loud enough for me about things that I think you should be shouting about. That's where we've gotten into in our world, because we see our identity as something other than human first. And so we need to move forward with that. We need to move forward with these three things: identity, love, like, and then guidance. All right, what do you think? Am I making a mountain out of a molehill here? Am I doing something that, we don't really need to worry about this? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Hey, if you found value in this, I'd love for you to share this with your friends. You sharing it with them helps them find value maybe. It helps me because it increases my reach, and I want to help people. We're never going to sell this. We're not putting ads in it. My advertising is you sharing it with your friends and family and loved ones. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. All right. Thanks so much for listening. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please share with a friend. And hey, give us that rating in your podcast store. Until next time, change possible.